Welcome everybody to the PNW Grand Prix here at Portland. Right now we're live in the middle of the race. You can see there we're on lap 9. We do apologize for missing the beginning of this race. We had a little bit of a technical snafu behind the scenes, but we appreciate you bearing with us and we'll get you all caught up to speed on this one here. A little bit of calamity on lap number 1 after Muhammad Alif led from the pole. Hopefully we'll be able to get you some replays of that, but at the moment we're looking here at a battle for third. This is Wyatt Burton having to fend off Dylan Beatty. Couple of drivers going at it inside the top 5. A little bit of a short field for the race today, but still this battle on the track, the closest one we've got. Beatty's gonna have the opportunity to make a move on Wyatt Burton here if he can stay close. So once again, we appreciate you joining us. I'm your host, Cade Corbin, joined in the booth by our analyst, Wesley Shaw, and our man behind the scenes, FC winner, Ryan Whitlock. Massive block there out of Wyatt Burton trying to keep Beatty behind him, but they're going to get side by side. If Beatty can get the lunge into turn 2, Burton goes wide but maintains momentum off the corner. Wesley, we've seen a little bit of an interesting race here already. Like I said, some calamity on lap 1, a couple of cars in the pits. Nick Henley from BSU already out of this one. What have you seen so far here in the first about quarter of the races? We are going to get some replays here, Wesley.
Yeah, so we've seen a lot of battlings here in the opening laps of the Portland. A lot of work from winner No Freeze. Jake.
And we do apologize for that. We're taking a look here. This should be back on lap number 1. There was some contact between Jake Cummings and I believe Lucas Moody that was the result of netcode. You can see there's the aftermath of it. The front end of the 95 destroyed. And this is the green flag, all right? Safety car pulls off to the left, and we're going to get 2 rows of cars. Turn 1, a very sharp right-hander. Jake Cummings rolling off in the 6th position. That other car to keep an eye on is the black number 13. 2 is inside. Right here, Cummings is clear. Very conservative line out of Moody. Henley goes flying by and clips him. And yeah, you can see there contact. Edwin and Ofray involved. But that netcode incident was between the left front of the 13 and the rear of the 95. Certainly no intent there. Interested to see what went wrong with Henley's car that looked like a throttle disconnect. We're going to see that car just stays in the gas. He puts it against the wall. Puts it in the wall to lose a little bit of speed. He's still in 5th gear, which feels very weird to me. And he's gone ahead and parked that car. So I'm not exactly sure what went wrong with the 65. M was a pretty innocent bystander in that one. We're going to have another look at it. Yeah, he knows something is wrong. And that fires that car to the left. It was actually McKim's teammate Schiller that ran over that number 3 car. Both of those contacts. Schiller's been able to continue, sitting now in the 6th spot. And once again, we're going to take a look at the Moody Cummings incident. Another angle of it here. Kind of looks to the inside, and yeah, the netcode kind of pulls the 95 around a little bit and eventually contact there. So obviously no malicious intent, but unfortunately damage to the 95 going to really ruin his race. Knocked all the way back to the 9th spot. This battle right here, Del Beasley and Edwin and Ofray. And Ofray recovering from that lap 1 incident. Beasley, meanwhile, had to serve a drive-through at the beginning of this race due to a penalty carrying over from earlier in the season, but recovering back on track up to the 8th position and now working on Edwin for 7th.
Working on Edwin for 7th is what we're going to be for a while, just because of that little switchback. That's all the way down, about 4 or 5 lengths, and so you hit by
right there, you can see Onofre able to get a little bit of a gap. That section, very complicated there. The car feels off camber. It wants to spin out, and Onofre able to take advantage of that technical section. I'm having a look at this 199 here, this green machine from UNT, to try to see if there is any residual damage. I think he was on pit road at the beginning of this race to repair it. Yes, so that 199 car is good to go. He has made one stop down pit road for repairs, and that has cycled him out in the clutches of Stell Beasley. We do want to mention this race, pretty standard FC procedures, 200 seconds of push to pass, a mandatory tire compound swap with our 2 options, and the special feature for this race is the potential for rain later in the going. The clouds were predicted to roll in right about this mark here, sitting at the 1/3 portion of the race. But for the moment, the skies have yet to open up, and we are still running a dry track with clear skies. So we'll stay. We'll see if we stay dry or if we have the opportunity to go racing in the rain for the second consecutive week. Certainly there will be some drivers that would be fans of that, like Cale Davidson there in the second spot. Some drivers who maybe would not be looking forward to that. So everybody's got their eyes on the skies for the moment, potentially switching to a wet tire. But if we do not have that situation arise, the race is a pretty easy one stop. So while we're looking at that race strategy here, it's going to be probably splitting it in half. You have the opportunity for an over and undercut. Here's a look at our track for today. This is Portland International up in Oregon.
Portland International having a 12-turn layout. We're only going to see about 1.96 miles in length. We have a little bit faster of a pit speed than normal. Usually it's around 40 to 45. Tonight we're looking at a little bit faster at 50 miles per hour. We're going to see a lot of very fast driving. This is a very fast track compared to maybe a couple of weeks ago when we were in the country of Italy. Tonight we're looking at over 58 seconds. Tonight I think was our leader of our Muhammad at 58.51 in the CIL lead. But we're going to see a lot of very fast driving, a lot of high speed shifts going between. There's only about 8 or 9 drivers holding the pace lap. So we're very fast sweeps, especially going 1 and 2, where that little switchback is, where it's so wide, such a hard play of a. If you can see a lot.
You can see there, sorry for those technical issues there. We're working some audio glitches out, working some broadcast glitches out. Got quite a few bugs that have bitten us tonight here. Do not want us having a look at this Portland track, which is incredibly unfortunate. And one of my personal favorite racetracks. Having a conversation before this, it is so fun. Like Wesley said, it is so fast. You've got to be working the gears. This is kind of a mid-speed section that really puts the car in a really uncomfortable spot. You have got to be okay with feeling your car right on the edge. So as these drivers work through here, we're seeing why Burton was able to put a little bit of a gap on Dylan Beatty. This was that same incident, or excuse me, same battle, has not resulted in an incident, thankfully, but same battle that we were taking a look at earlier hasn't really gone away. These two on pace with each other evenly. One of the closest battles on track, also close on track, Jake Cummings has run down Stell Beasley. Cummings, in addition to an O-frame, made a lap 1 pit stop to get that car repaired, and Cummings is now looking for the 8th spot, and I think running a little bit faster than Edwin and Ofre at this moment. So Cummings, it's certainly not over till it's over. Like we've said, still 1 pit cycle to go, and if Cummings can get up there, get to race in the 199, try to get himself back in top 5 position, that will be one storyline to watch, as if that Converse University machine can recover. Oh, right there, sorry, Jake Cummings runs Beasley off the track. I don't know how long they were side by side, and I don't know if there was anything Cummings could do, but got right next to each other. This is headed into this final chicane. Looks to me like Beasley is... can't tell if trying to get out of the way or run a defensive line. Cummings cuts the apex there and comes right back across the track. Both drivers very aggressive into an incredibly fast, incredibly tight complex. There's just not room for 2 cars with that much speed. And unfortunately, a little bit of contact. Still, everybody going in the right direction, and they've gotten it sorted out. You can see the leader, Muhammad Alif, behind them already 5 seconds up on second place, Cale Davidson. He's in this picture, so you know that was a little bit of a hold-your-breath moment for the leader. But give the 8th spot to Jake Cummings. Had to wrestle it away from Stell Beasley. As right there, we were having a look at Grant Schiller. This is Schiller just behind Moody, less than a second back of the 13 car. Moody did not opt to pit after the lap 1 yellow, so his car may have just a little bit of damage. So we'll see how well the 13 car can push against a very fast St. Clair machine. Good showing from Schiller, other than the incident at the very beginning of the race. He has been pretty solid. You can see here still within a second of the 13 car. closest gap on track right now, 1.8 seconds now as we go here. Beasley has elected to come into pit, potentially repairing some damage. It is also possible that this is a little bit of a strategy call. We talk about this being a one-stop race. You can easily come in on lap 19. You get a one-lap undercut, nothing crazy there. But that will get the 70 car from Delaware to the end of the race without having to make another pit stop. So that'll be the tire compound swap and everything else taken care of for the 70 machine. 9 cars still to make one drop down pit road. I'd imagine some drivers thinking about running this one a little bit long. If that rain does roll in, you want to make your one pit stop for fuel at the same time as you switch to a treaded wet tire. So we'll see if that's what a lot of drivers are trying. Otherwise, I think there is a little bit of an advantage to the overcut here. Track position, not so much of a premium. You do have some passing zones, so you want to maybe make that outlap a little bit later in the stint. More likely, you're trying to limit the amount of laps you have on the softer alternate compound. I'm looking at a lot of drivers on primaries right now, and so I'd imagine that is the main reason for the overcut strategy. We do appreciate you all watching here halfway through the PNW Grand Prix at Portland International Raceway. This is the penultimate race of season 13 here in the Formula College World Championship. And we do want to give our shout outs to our champion. Our Muhammad Alif has collected enough points through the first 11 races, including drop weeks, that he has officially secured the championship, regardless of the outcome of today's race, because the field only about 11 cars. There's no opportunity for anybody to outscore Leaf in points. He has locked up the title, and if I am correct, that is his 6th consecutive title in the Formula College Series, going all the way back to the days when we used to race the F4 car before we brought in this Dallara IR18. So major props to our Muhammad Alif. He's won all 3 championships in the INDYCAR era. You can see there it is over a 60-point gap between Alif and Cummings, which is something that is not going to come down here in the next couple of weeks. So Alif, Cummings, Moody all racing today. Keegan Kallick likely going to slide back just a little bit, not scoring any points today, of course. Driver from St. Clair not in the field. Few other drivers looking to maybe move up some battles farther back in the point standings. But we do want to give a shout out to our Muhammad Alif, of course. Seems like there's just about every week that we're singing his praises, but he's put on a good fight today. He's not going to make it easy on him. He wants to finish this season out with 2 more wins. It'll be today at Portland. Next week we'll be off, but the week after that we'll end our season at Kansas and officially crown the champion, although once again Alif has locked it up and looking very solid to try to grab what I believe would be win number 6 on the season. So we do also want to thank you all for watching. If there's a specific driver or team that you would like to give us a shout out to, go ahead and let us know in that YouTube chat. We'll be keeping an eye on that here for the next 18 laps and seeing if potentially we can catch up with that driver. Seeing some cheering for Wyatt Burton. Burton right now sitting very solidly in podium position. He's put a good gap on this Dylan Beatty car that we've been watching. Burton driving away from the 20s, putting about 2/10 on him per lap, which has added up significantly here over the last few circuits. So Burton in position to grab a podium on a road course, showing he can get it done, turning both right and left. But other than that, we do also want to give a quick shout out to our league sponsors. Of course, we got to thank the Longland Corporation from Napa for all your Napa know-how needs. Head on over to napaonline.com, their store ID number 28128, and they'll get you taken care of just like they've been taking care of the CIL. And of course, we got to give our shout outs to Whiplash Sim Cams for helping make these productions just a little bit easier, helping us out here on the broadcast side. Trust me, our bugs that we've had tonight have not been due to Whiplash Sim Cams. They have not been the problem. So nothing bad about the Sim Cams. We are to have them here. And of course, we do also want to shout out the University of Northwestern Ohio. They've partnered up with to make things pretty possible here. Really excited for the UNOH. It's time to turn your passion into a career. UNOH is a pioneer in the field of high-performance motorsports education with students from 48 states, 40 different countries, and their very own racetrack facility. If you're looking to get your racing career on track, head on over to unoh.edu.
Now we're just kind of running along here.
We are trying to get our other commentator, Wesley Saw, trying to get him up and running. So many different little bugs tonight, really. They all decided to hit us all at one time. And I've been sick this week too, and apparently so are our computers. So we'll try to get Wesley back online here. He's been a good help and a good help for us this season. So we'll see if anything for it. Taking a look here at Muhammad Ali, he's gotten around Jake Cummings, put that number 95 car one lap down. Cummings up to the 7th position, still a pit stop to make, I believe, for all of these leaders. And you can see, looking at that sky out the windscreen through the halo of the 12 car, it does seem like the rain has decided to stay away here. And as quick as these laps are going, it'll probably only be about 14 minutes until we throw the checkered flag here in Portland. So a really quick event tonight, and I don't know if that's long enough for the weather to pick up. But if it does at the very end, it'll throw a massive wrench in the plans of all of these drivers. So we'll see how long the Leaf can go on fuel. The analysis that we showed earlier guesstimated about, anywhere from 27 to 29 laps. The Leaf could push it a little bit longer, just limiting time on old alternates, so we could get up probably into maybe 31 or 32 laps on a tank. Something to note here as well, very cool track temps makes it even more difficult if you are on cold tires, so drivers trying to push that transition as late into the race as they can.
And late into the race, we may just see with Muhammad Ali, we've seen him run really long on the stints of his tires and fuel. You've seen it all season long, where he's really just been strong on these road course circuits, but just kind of come up short in the oval circuits. You'll just see him run all day long here on the road circuits and be happy about it. He takes it with pride and with prejudice on his victories here. He's extended that lead all the way out 60 points by now, so he is just kind of bringing it home, having fun out on the circuit. Really just kind of showing everybody why he is the king of the IndyCars. Like you said, Kate, he's won all 3 seasons that we've had this car in the CIL for the Formula College Series. We're just going to see him dominate that much more and prove to us why he belongs in this car. And we'll see just here in the next 13 laps on if he can bring home that checkered and just move it even better.
And that's something, too, to think about with this race length is because we only have one pit stop, and that pit stop is pretty flexible. I mean, the pit window opened all the way back on lap number 12. Because of that, it's allowed drivers to go all out every single lap. There's really no reason to fuel save, no reason to put it in a different fuel map. You can push for 40 consecutive laps, and that's a style of racing that these drivers really do enjoy. Some of those longer races where it's advantageous to kind of ride a little bit, sit in a third fuel map, be conservative. It's a strategy race, but these drivers don't really like that. They want to push. They want to go all out. 40 laps. It's definitely a little bit of a sprint race compared to what we've seen here this season in the FC Series. And so you can tell a Leaf enjoying himself 10 seconds up. His teammate Dylan Beatty has decided to go ahead and drop it down into the pit. So Beatty going to be putting on alternates, going to go 13 laps here on that softer compound, full tank of gas for the 20 car. Gave up a couple of spots on track, but he's going to try to gain those back when we go through the pit cycle.
Speaking of pit cycle, we're seeing about lap 28, lap 29 is going to be the lap stint for most of these cars. So just Stell Beasley diving in first is really just going to be a bit of an undercut strategy from that Ball State car. So we'll just see how that plays out with 13 laps on the alternate strategy for the alternate tires. We're going to see probably the next few cars start diving down into the pits, like Wyatt Burton dipping in right now, running about probably a 4-second pit stop time, maybe a little bit more for those tires and a little bit more fuel. It is a relatively short Grand Prix that we're very much not used to. We're used to kind of sitting here for the next hour and a half, 2 hours, but seems like tonight is going to be maybe an hour. But that is Muhammad Ali dipping down into the pit lane for his fresh new set of alternates.
Yeah, so he's going to be putting on alternate tires. You can see his teammates putting on alts as well. That's Moody about to go a lap down into the pits. Cale Davidson in the second spot coming into the pits. I don't think there's a huge opportunity to take less fuel and gain a lot of time, so the gaps should stay pretty consistent. The interesting one to watch is going to be Dylan Beatty. He got a pretty big undercut on Wyatt Burton. I think it was about 2 laps And so Beatty's going to have fresh tires and alternates. You can see on the relative that gap coming down while Wyatt Burton is dealing with cold tires. Beatty is reeling him in. This is the battle for what will likely be the third position. Once Grant Schiller brings it down pit road, this will be the battle for the final spot on the podium. At the moment, that is held by the St. Clair driver, although he does have to pit, and he will pit this time. Look at the swerving, trying to get heat in those tires and breaking the draft simultaneously, but the gap is down to 0.3 of a second. Dylan Beatty sends it to the inside of turn 1, not able to get the crossover, slides the car out of the corner just a little bit. Power down for Wyatt Burton. I think he's got a little more temperature in those tires, should take about another lap before they are at optimum, but he's going to have a mirror full of Dylan Beatty while he's trying to get a handle on that race car.
Absolutely. He's going to have that wall of balls start trying to form for that third position. You're just going to see it all. You're just going to see him try and move that mirror and just overload him a bit. So all you're going to see is a bunch of red sitting in both mirrors.
Yeah, Beatty got a really, really good run out of that corner. Burton threw it all the way to the bottom. That is one of the most defensive moves I've seen all season. Beatty says, I see that, but I can go lower. Burton fight backs on the bottom, bites the curb with the left front, narrowly clear by about 2 inches coming off of the chicane, now into the right-hander. Beatty still on the attack, but the gap is about a car length and a half, growing to 2 car lengths now, winding through the intersection of this course. And as this goes on, you're going to have to think Beatty might have just a little less grip. He might have slightly older tires. It'd be really interesting to see how that plays out. Burton cycled into the 3rd spot. Beatty has cycled into 4th, and that is where they will run to the checker. As they head down the back straightaway now, the gap opening up to about 4 car lengths as Burton putting time on Beatty, but really, really good through the final turn. There's a right-hander after this chicane that has been Dylan Beatty's strong suit, and if he can get a good run again, if he can get the toe, it's about a 7/10 gap, so not a huge draft for Beatty. Decides to stay off the button, but he is going to have the opportunity to stay close and get there again. 10 laps to go here at Portland, less than 10 minutes to go in the race, and Dylan Beatty fighting for a podium. This is the closest battle on track. And looking back this is the closest battle on track. That is, I think, the leader, Muhammad Alif. He's got Jake Cummings and Grant Schiller fighting for position just behind him. Edwin Onofre's in the picture as well. Cummings was able to get around the 5 car, but Schiller not wanting to go quietly on the button and in the draft. He's going to look to the inside. Does he have a move on Cummings? No! He's going to look to the outside and have to settle in line here in the 7th spot. Now under fire from the 199. Edwin Onofre trying to drive his way. Again, still recovering from that lap 1 incident. He now is going to have to deal with the 5 cars. Cummings puts a little bit of a gap on that car, and look at that. Fastest lap goes to Wyatt Burton, sub 59. We're seeing the cheering for him in the chat. We know you guys are supporting Mr. Excitement. We definitely do show a little bit of bias up here for the driver from Trine. He's opened up a 1.2 second on gap on Dylan Beatty. That gap now growing even a little bit more. But this battle here is the closest one on track. Schiller playing some defense on Onofre, using all the curb he can. That is allowed. That is what you want to do, but he slides high on corner exit. Onofre gets the power down. They're going to be side by side at the line. Both of these drivers are on the push to pass. Onofre is going to have a nose into turn number 1. Can he be the last to late breaker? Yes, he can. Clear by 2 car lengths through the chicane. The 7th spot goes to Onofre, and he's going to try to hunt down Jake Cummings.
Don't discount him. He's going to run all he can and hold as much of a gap that he can. Holding about 11 seconds compared to Edwin Onofre.
Huh.
Yeah, and so you
only
can see
7
here
laps to
Edwin
go and
Onofre.
7 minutes left. We're going to see a lot of fighting left in these cars for the penultimate race of the season. There's a little bit of a gap there, a little bit chip into the grass, so he's going to try and recover and get some gap or some run onto the next cars and maybe get some kind of move into Edwin Onofre. But don't discount him, because Edwin Onofre might try and dive onto the inside of that Converse machine. We'll just see it here up into the next corner if he does get that move done. He's using a lot of that push to pass. He is using every last second he has to his name here in the Portland International Grand Prix, and he gets right on the bumper, getting into his mirrors, trying to make him a little bit nervous, trying to get him off his line. But we've seen Jake Cummings, and he is a very solid driver, and he thinks about it there, but he tucks back in and thinks we're going to get a little bit further.
Yeah, Onofre should have plenty more chances to get this done. Taking a look there on the relative, those are the seconds of push to pass left in the tank for these drivers. Onofre could stay on that button for 136 seconds. Think of that as 136 mini boosts. He can use that button for the entire last 2 laps of this race if he wanted to. Meanwhile, Jake Cummings trying to maintain that gap. I do want to see if we can have a look at when these drivers last pitted, if fresher alternates are helping that 199 car. He's been a lot faster than Cummings, but right there slides it out of the second apex. He's going to give up about 0.3 of a second in that corner alone. Now he's got to sit back, collect his thoughts, and see if he can get back to running down that 95 car. Dirty air, not going to help him at all, so he's going to have plenty of time to make the pass. Here is what we're looking at. Edwin Onofre, actually 2 laps older than Jake Cummings. That's the opposite of what I was expecting. Just seeing how much grip that 199 car had, Cummings may have the advantage in the final few laps here if the heat starts to build up and take the grip away from the tires in the 199. Right now, advantage to Cummings. You see everybody on alternates. Onofre's are just a little bit older, so he needs to make the pass happen soon. Otherwise, it may never be done. The gap now, 0.8 of a second with less than 6 laps to go.
Running down these 6 laps to go with Edwin Onofre, just kind of collecting his thoughts after having that little bit of a bout there, a little bit loose there. That's probably going to start becoming a bit more common of a thing with those tires starting to show a little bit wear with 5 to go. These tires are only about 8 laps old by this point, but with how much he has been pushing, trying to get on the bumper of Jake Cummings, maybe he's starting to see a little bit of wear and tear from him. He is the only alumni in this race in the Portland International Grand Prix, so he does not have too much to lose in the ways of a win for the alumni, but he does have a bit of pride to get into that 6th spot, get a little bit closer to Lucas Moody, and disrupt that wall of ball that seems to be happening between R. Muhammad Ali, Cale Davidson, and Dylan Beatty, along with Lucas Moody, with the only person breaking it up being Wyatt Burton. If Edwin Onofre and Jake Cummings can maybe put a little bit more work in, we may not see that. Maybe they can disrupt that a little bit more, but chances are going to be slim with only 4 to go here. So we're going to see a lot more fight left out of Edwin Onofre, using a bit more of his push to pass, going here in the turn. We'll see if he gets a little bit loose. He does not. He was easing out of it on that turn there. He's kind of noticed he is getting a bit loose coming out of it, so he's eased off of it, maybe getting a little bit better around that turn there. As we come into the much tighter portion of this circuit, we're going to see if he does gain a bit, or if the fresher lap tires for Jake Cummings starts to play in his favor instead.
Yeah, Jake Cummings' lap times have come down a little bit. I don't know if he's found something or if the grip has shifted to be in favor of that 95, but in that sector alone, he put up about 1/10 of a second on the 199, definitely faster. Meanwhile, this battle went away, but it started to wake up a little bit. Wyatt Burton, Dylan Beatty, don't put it down yet. It's not finalized. Burton is going to have to defend a little bit. He's going to have to put some really good laps down if he wants to maintain the 3rd spot. Still 1.5 seconds, similar gap to what's between the 95 and the 199. We'll see if Burton can hang on. When they cross the line, it'll be just 3 laps to go, but the 3rd spot potentially up for grabs, in addition to the 6th spot potentially as well. Those are the 2 battles that we will keep an eye on. R. Muhammad Ali basically has this one locked up. You see 10 seconds over Cale Davidson, and Davidson very solidly in the 2nd spot. Beatty, not a great run off of the final corner, so the gap stays about where it was, and it looks to me like Burton has the advantage into turn number 4. So for the moment, Burton pretty confident that he's going to be able to hang on to the 3rd spot.
Coming back over to R. Muhammad Ali, the leader of this race and championship winner for the moment. He's just kind of cruising around the lap, taking down on the lap cars. There's no reason for him to push all that much. He has almost a full lap on Cale Davidson with 2 laps to go. Sorry, make that. And he is just kind of cruising around the circuit, not pushing too much, but also showing his presence, making sure that Muhammad Alif is going to be a household name in the CIL.
Yeah, and that car there that he's trying to lap is his teammate. Shouldn't give him too much difficulty. And Alif probably content to, even if he has to, just sit behind that 13 car. Really no reason to push here. Of course, teammates with the second place car as well. Moody going to get out of the way down this back stretch, and as Alif has the inside there for the kink, he's going to clear the 13 car. Lap and a half to go here at Portland. Burton has driven away with the 3rd spot, maintaining that gap. We'll see if he can bring it home. Onofre just a little bit closer to Cummings, though. That battle for 6th is the closest on track. And as we hit the stripe, it's 1 lap to go here in the PNW Grand Prix, presented by the Napa Longland Corporation. For all your car, truck, SUV, and heavy-duty needs, visit Napa and get the Napa know-how with the Longland Corporation. Muhammad Alif working through the first sector, so we're going to have a take a look back at this battle. Onofre, you can see completely pushing the back end of that car, moving around as he struggles to get the power down, getting every ounce of it that he can. It's about 6 lengths between Cummings and Onofre. These two have been racing each other for a while, and this race right here going to be a little bit of a test for both of them. Cummings gets a really good entry into that corner. This battle happening just behind the leader, Alif, who's going to run down the back straightaway for the final time, swinging wide and likely to be just a little bit conservative in this final chicane. But it's been a masterclass once again here at Portland. Into the final turn, Muhammad Alif is going to win the PNW Grand Prix, and Jake Cummings is going to hold on to the 6th spot, barely getting it over Edwin Onofre. It's going to be about 0.2 of a second between him, and Onofre had a really good run out of the final corner. But Muhammad Alif wins it. Cale Davidson locks up the 2nd spot, and Wesley Shaw should take over.
Absolutely. We'll give a little bit of a break to our master producer and broadcaster, Cade Corbin here. He is feeling a little bit under the weather, so he's going to go and kind of chill himself out, get ready for these broadcasting editions here for the 3 interviews of our 3 different winners. So we're going to take one small little break as we get ready to interview our podium finishers here for the Portland International Grand Prix, and we will see you in just 2 seconds.
Welcome back, everybody, to the PNW Grand Prix here at Portland International Raceway, getting set for post-race interviews with our drivers. We'll start it off with the third place finisher, bottom rung of the podium, but still a fantastic showing from Wyatt Burton. Wyatt, how are you feeling after bringing it back here on the podium on a road course?
It was much needed podium for me, and I am just happy that I survived the entire race because my wheel disconnected on me 4 times during practice. I murdered lots of people, and I did a software update on it, and thankfully that fixed it. I was able to race tonight.
Well, it was certainly a lot of fun to watch there at the end. You had a little bit of a scare, pretty good battle with Dylan. What were you thinking fighting that 20 car, and how'd you get that to work out in your favor?
At the first stint, I was just trying to save, and I figured if I could hold him off for 10 to 12 laps, the dirty air would start to wear his fronts out, and I figured I could hold on to it from there, and that's what ended up happening. And then the second stint where he undercut me, I kind of got scared. I could not get temp into the front on the alts. It took me like 4 laps before I felt like I could even drive the car in a straight line. But then after that, I saved almost all my push to pass and was able to burn that on the last stint to keep him behind.
Well, clearly that strategy worked out pretty well for you. It was a great result, a lot of fun to watch, and hopefully we'll be talking to you again next week. We head to a track that's a little bit more your speciality, but before we head over to Kansas, is there anybody you'd like to thank?
I'd like to thank my parents and grandparents who watched me tonight, as always, and yeah, that's it.
Well, yeah, you certainly do bring a lot of fans to these races. A lot of fun to interact with them. So thanks for bringing them out, and go celebrate this one. Have a good night.
Thank you, guys.
And after that, we're going to go ahead and bring up our second place finisher. Second once again, but still a really good result for Cale Davidson. He's standing by with Wesley Shaw.
Hey, Davidson, you got a mic?
I do.
Hey, man, that was a great race you ran tonight, holding second all the way through. You really fought hard to keep that place. What was going through your mind in the 40 laps to bring it home?
I mean, I was really just hoping for some rain today, to be honest. I wanted a rerun of what we had at Red Bull Ring last week with the Leaf, and I thought maybe if I could stay up with them. But then we saw the forecast. We saw the race was going to finish since it was pretty short, quick race with lap time. So it was just full push from there on out.
Yeah, I was definitely hoping for some rain myself. I know we don't really see it all that much in iRacing, let alone in the INDYCARs. Really hoping that it was, but just because of how short of a Grand Prix it was, we didn't see any. It was just kind of bright and sunny out there. Really, did you have fun tonight, and what were your closing thoughts that you knew you were just going to bring home that second place?
I mean, I was having a lot of fun for the first 10, 12 laps or so. And then going onto the back straightaway, I could not shift out of second gear, and my wheelbase slightly got pulled out. So the entire race, it kept misshifting. I couldn't shift sometimes, so I just had to press constant pressure on the wheel. So that made the last 30 laps of that race pretty dreadful, and my forearms hurt pretty bad from that. But for the first 12 laps, just racing like that, it was super fun. But still just happy to bring it home.
Yeah, it seems like tonight is just a lot of bugs and issues going on. We had a lot of issues here in the broadcast booth, and it seems like it's been a common occurrence tonight of people's wheels disconnecting and something going on between the communication with iRacing as well. But to close out, Cale Davidson, is there anyone you want to thank, anyone you want to have fun and issue some sort of agreements to tonight?
Yeah, definitely want to shout out all my teammates. So Nick, Dylan, Alif, and Lucas. We put on a good show, I feel like, tonight, and we had some fun battles, especially with us in the top 4 for the first half of the race or so. And then shout out our esports directors, Dan and BK, and shout out to my mom, my dad, my grandma, my grandpa, and my girlfriend Sylvia.
All right, and that was our second place finisher, Cale Davidson from Ball State University. I'm going to hand it back over to our lead broadcaster, Cade Corbin, who's going to be interviewing our winner for tonight, Mr. R. Muhammad Alif.
Hello.
Muhammad Alif, welcome once again to the booth for the win on the season. Of course, you've locked up the title. A little bit of a different looking race tonight, but still finding a way to get it done. First off, I just want to say congratulations on not quite wrapping up the season, but for you, you've taken home the trophies. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it was a fun race. Thank God it was 40 laps, so I have to really give Ricky a thanks for that. Yeah, it was fun. Felt like a full push race where there was no type of fuel saving or tire saving needed. Just guns to the wall and full push. So that was really fun.
Yeah, we definitely noted that style of racing seemed like we had pretty low lap times throughout, a pretty open fuel window as well. I think gave you guys a lot to work with. So when you talk about that style of racing, is it really that much different than what we've typically seen with these longer stints, or can you kind of take the same mentality as you would to that 50 lap race that we saw out of Barber or last week at Red Bull?
It's different because like if we are having to like save tires or save fuel, we drive below the limit, which means that I think the gap between like me and everyone else probably becomes closer in a race. But when it's like this, it's just everyone's pushing at 100%, and it's just like who's the best driver across the 40 laps with one straightforward pit stop. So it was fun. Brought back memories to like those F4 races that we used to have in this series.
Yeah, definitely a lot of success in the F4 car for you, and now plenty of success in the IR18. So once again, congrats. Was a lot of fun to watch. A lot of fun to watch you guys push. Definitely proved that you were the best driver there today at Portland. Before we let you go, anybody you want to thank?
My whole team here for the hard work. I think Kale did a great job today with his driving as well. I don't know what championship wise it is for Kale, but yeah, I think we should wrap up the top 3 in the championship. I'm not too sure on that. And everyone on the Ball State roster for Oval and Road. My family back home.
Well, it was a great showing from you. Great showing from the entire BSU team. You guys definitely hard to beat. So go celebrate this one, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you. See you guys.
So there you have it. We've talked to our top 3, so now let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of the running order. Pretty short here, only 11 cars taking the green flag at Portland. Of course, Muhammad Alif, Cale Davidson from Ball State University leading this one off in a BSU 1-2. And then we talked to Mr. Excitement there, Wyatt Burton, rounding out the podium. But we can see where the rest of the field shook out, hopefully here in a quick second. And there we go. So, yep, back there in the 4th spot was another BSU driver, Dylan Beatty, last car on the lead lap, sitting in the 4th position. Then you had Lucas Moody, first car, 1 lap down, also from BSU. Jake Cummings holding off Onofre for that 6th spot. Great battle all day. Grant Schiller winds up 8th from St. Clair. Stell Beasley 9th from the University of Delaware. And Logan McKim rounds out the top 10 from St. Clair. Only other car in the field was Nick Henley, P11, who had some technical issues early on and was unable to complete 1 lap. Clint Halterman did not take the green flag, so no points scored for the 100 car, but seemed to be a day with a lot of technical difficulties. We saw there with Henley. Of course, we heard from Cale, and up here in the booth, hopefully those will go away for our next race, which will be at Kansas. We get a week off for Thanksgiving break, so go enjoy the holidays with all your friends. A week from now is Thanksgiving. We will not be racing on Turkey Day, but the week after that, it will be the final race of the season. We'll be officially crowning our champion, our Rookie of the Year, Drivers of the Season, and we'll have those final point standings. It's going to be a great oval race to round out the year. You're not going to want to miss it at the same place and the same time. That is 7:45 here in the Central Time Zone, and that is 8:45 over there on the East Coast. Green flag will fly at 9. So hopefully you'll join us for the Yellow Brick Road 250 presented by the Longland Corporation. But until then, we appreciate you all for tuning in. Have a great night, and hopefully we'll see you in Kansas.